Hello and welcome to my channel. For those that don't know me, I am Virginia. I am a second grade teacher in the state of Georgia, and today we're going to be talking about pros and cons of Teach for America. For some background, I was a Teach for America 2017 Corps member in Metro Atlanta, and I'm going to give you some pros and cons of being a TFA Corps member. Con number 1. It's hard. It's just really hard. There's no way around it. It's hard. Basically, you're going into a teaching setting most of you probably haven't taught before, and honestly, the students have behavior problems, you have classroom management problems. Across the board, it's just gonna be hard. So if you are not prepared to put in the work and have those days where you're like, oh man, I just had the worst day, you're gonna have a bad time. If you don't think this is hard, if you don't expect it to be hard, don't do it. Number 2, if you're treating this like a way to get into law school, there's the door. Seriously, you're not gonna last. I'm telling you. I was in a school with other teachers that thought, oh, it's fine, I'm gonna do this for 2 years. I worked at Amazon. They were gone by December, both of them. So if you're not in it to actually teach some children, don't do it. 3, the curriculum training at Institute is not all-encompassing, and you may be placed in a grade level that you actually are not going to wind up teaching, or even a subject matter that you're not going to wind up teaching. For example, I actually was lucky. I was one of the few that was lucky. I taught 4th grade math in my Institute experience, and I actually wound up teaching 4th grade. Now, of course, I teach 2nd grade. Just expect that you're going to go in there and get a limited amount of experience in actually teaching. Additionally, there's not a lot of overview of lesson planning. You write one lesson plan the entire time that you're in Institute. That's not enough. Everything else they kind of give you in order to teach, which I think is a good way to start so you can kind of get your feet wet and go over it and teach it to the kids, but it's not enough. 4, you're going to pay for your grad school or your certification program. In the state of Georgia, I did a certification program because of the fact that I already had a bachelor's degree. Depending on where you're teaching, you may have to get a master's degree. That's not covered. So for me, I paid about $5,000 to get my certification done. Pros. Pro number 1. You're going to be able to get into the classroom and actually start teaching much sooner than if you were to go the traditional route. For me, that was important. I have bills to pay. I can't be sitting out of work. I did not come from college. 2, you're basically set while you're out of work. What I mean by that is they have free housing for wherever you are at Institute. They have food covered. They have most of the necessities that you need, and they actually will even, you can apply for a grant and get transitional funding. So for me, I actually got transitional funding because of the fact that I was quitting my job to join the Corps. There's also loans that are interest-free. It's something that you could also use if you needed money to actually get to Institute or get to your new place. 3, you get to move to a new place where basically your job is set up for you. So you might be placed in a whole new place and you get to kind of experience a new city. I thought that was particularly interesting, but for me personally, I lived in Atlanta and I was not leaving Atlanta. 4, you get the potential to network with a bunch of awesome people. The people that manage to live out those 2 years and stay those 2 years are some of the best people you're gonna meet. The network is so useful for not only asking for advice from other teachers and keeping yourself sane for those 2 years, but also beyond the Corps, being able to interact with them. So final thoughts. So should you join the Corps? The answer is, it depends on you. It really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to find a way to get into the classroom, that's my dog. If you're looking to find a way to get into the classroom, then this is a really good way to do it. If you are looking at this as a great way to put something on your resume for law school, this is not for you. It is not. You're not going to last the 2 years. Forget it. If you're coming in here thinking you're going to leave by December of the first year. My last piece of advice for whether or not you should decide if you want to join the Corps is that the actual Institute of Teach for America, at least in Metro Atlanta, is spread quite thin. The people there are fantastic. They're really wonderful. They'll respond to you when they can, but just know that they are spread thin. If you're having a crisis day, they may not be able to come assist you with the crisis. So my biggest piece of advice is to actually seek out somebody that you can go to at your school. This was a huge lifesaver for me at my school. Shout out to Allison if she's watching this. It's her. She was the curriculum support teacher and still is at my first school, and she saved my life. She taught me so much stuff. So if you can find a person in your building that can do the same for you, that can teach you curriculum, that can teach you different ways to manage your class, that can teach you how to do RTI interventions, any stuff like that, they're going to be far more useful to you than the staff at actual Teach for America, because they're not in your building. They don't know exactly what's going on. If you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful, please consider liking it or giving me a comment, telling me what you think, asking me your questions. I'm happy to answer them. Thanks for watching. See you next time.